Well, Senior Pastor Francis Norton woke up on Sunday morning realizing it was an exceptionally beautiful and sunny day, not like today, and decided he just had to go play golf. And so he told the associate pastor that he was feeling sick and convinced him to say Mass for him that day. So Father Norton headed out of town to the golf course about 40 miles away, and this way he knew he wouldn't accidentally meet anyone he knew from his parish. So setting up on the first tee, he was alone, and after all, it was Sunday morning and everybody else was in church. So about this time, St. Peter leaned over to the Lord while looking down from the heavens and exclaimed, "You're not going to let him get away with this, are you?" The Lord sighed and said, "No, I guess not." So just then, Father Norton hit the ball and it shot straight down the fairway to the pin, dropping just short of it, rolled up and fell into the hole. It was a 420-yard hole in one. I know, I would have fainted. Okay. So St. Peter was astonished, and he looked at the Lord and asked, "Why did you let him do that?" And the Lord smiled and replied, "Who's he gonna tell?" Oh. So it just felt like golf was part of my talk today because how are you? Good, good. So how would you describe yourself today? So just check in. What are the words that you would use to describe how your life is flowing? How are you feeling right now? So I invite you to just check in with your physical body. Are you hungry? Are you hangry? Tired, maybe a little tired. Anybody tired? Yeah, achy, maybe a little tense. Yeah, so now we're getting real. It's like, yeah, oh, I got this ache. Somebody said their back was hurting this morning. Okay. So how are your emotions this morning? Just check in. Are you happy? Are you feeling kind of peaceful, content? Or are you just agitated because somebody cut you off this morning or you backed into somebody's car? I did that last week. So, where are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? So when someone asks you how you're doing, what do you say? It's an opportunity to check in. Do you respond immediately with, how maybe the job is flowing, or how well the kids are doing, or, what we've been up to activity-wise, versus really how you are doing, you. How many balls are you managing to balance in the air right now? I see your faces. You're like, oh. Our lives just seem to have become so busy and often overwhelming. And it's unusual for us, really, to stop and just take a breath. And I think this is reaching a really critical point in our world. There was a survey that was done last year of 6,700 Americans nationwide, ages 18 to 64, reaching across demographic groups, gender, and health conditions to find out what stresses us out and how we cope. And the results were, we are chronically stressed. Top stressors included financial instability, putting others' needs before our own, such as work and family, worry about the future of our nation, and social isolation. And often how we cope with that is through food, alcohol, drugs, social media, and isolation. So it just felt like I wanted to explore this topic during this season for peace and nonviolence. because this is not a very peaceful way for us to be interacting with our lives and for us to feel in our bodies and our minds and our spirits. Wayne Muller, remember he was the author of the book that we did in the fall, How Then Shall We Live, also wrote a book called Sabbath. And in it, he explores the value of finding rest, renewal, and delight. I love that word. I don't use that word very often, delight, in our busy lives, and also delves deeply into what keeps us from it. And he brings light to how, when we are asked how we are, the standard greeting is often, "I'm so busy," resulting in the norm of kind of being unavailable often for friends and family, to be unable to find time for just basking in the beauty of a snowy day like we had this week, or the watching the eclipse that just recently happened, or taking in a daily sunset. That we're hurrying through our lives, and that's kind of the benchmark for success. And we push ourselves so hard, don't we? And so Wayne Muller talks about how a successful life coming from this way of being and acting is a violent enterprise. He says we make war on our bodies, pushing them beyond their limits. We get irritated and annoyed and even lash out at our children because we can't find enough time to just be with them when they just really just want to be with us. We bring unnecessary drama into our lives because we don't take time to turn within and listen to the inner wisdom that's always supporting us. So we make decisions that are frantic or desperate or just not grounded in our knowing. We spend a lot of time in fear and self-protection, for example, from the news. And it has us not feeling safe enough to really reach out and share our love and compassion. And we take advantage of our planet, without really taking off our shoes sometimes and just putting our feet on the earth and just feeling how beautiful it is and feeling how grounding it is and thanking it for all the ways it blesses us every day. And our lack of rest and reflection has impacted the way we build and sustain community. It dictates the way we respond to when people are suffering and how we seek peace and healing. So how did we get here? Wayne Muller says, we've just forgotten the Sabbath. We've forgotten the Sabbath. You haven't forgotten the Sabbath. You're here. But, beyond coming on Sunday morning, the Sabbath is a time for conscious, sacred, effortless, nourishing rest. It's a practice as well as a way of being in a time where when we're in that Sabbath energy, we're remembering who we are, we're remembering what we know, and we're allowing ourselves to taste the gifts that are within us and all around us. Co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, defined Sabbath as that time where we turn away from the outer, away from all of our personal effort and belief in our own works, and rest in the knowing of oneness. Now that sounds yummy, doesn't it? It can be a holy day, the seventh day as in the Jewish tradition, or the first day of the week like in the Christian tradition. But it can also be a morning, an afternoon, or an evening, a Sabbath hour. It's more than the absence of work. It's more than a day off or binging on Netflix. It's a time dedicated to mindfulness and attention. Okay, you bingers on Netflix, I heard that. It's dedicated to mindfulness and attention, honoring all that sustains and heals us. It's taking refuge. And the history of Sabbath, if you remember, comes from the Hebrew word Shabbat, which means to rest. Sabbath time was revealed in the creation story of Genesis, remember? According to that story, God created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day, rest. And in the 10 Commandments that were delivered to Moses, according to Hebrew Scripture, Jews were to honor the Sabbath by keeping it holy. there were 39 specific acts that were prohibited during the 24-hour period of time, which included things like they couldn't build the temple, they couldn't sow or reap or threshing or winnowing, which I had no idea what winnowing is, was sifting the grain. They couldn't bake or hunt or transport things. And during those days, that if the Jewish people did not honor the Sabbath, they could have been put to death or admonished out of their community. In the Christian tradition, Sabbath is celebrated on Sunday to commemorate the day that Jesus resurrected. And it was first officially recognized in 321 by Constantine, who had newly converted to Christianity, and declared it a day of rest throughout the empire. But unfortunately, it too was forced upon the people. So no wonder people don't have positive images of keeping the Sabbath holy. Jesus said, man was not made for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for man. The Sabbath was made for all of us. It was made to support us on our journey. So why is it so important? So when we are in a restful sanctuary, we become available to all that blesses us. When we are in that restful place, we tend to touch into the gratitude for all of life's blessings. So I'm just going to ask you right now to just maybe close your eyes if that works for you, but I just invite you to bring to your mind's eye, where is your restful sanctuary? Where is it for you? When you think of a place that feeds your soul, where is it for you? Like for some of us, it's the beach. When I'm standing on the sand and looking at the ocean, it just touches my soul. But where is it for you? Is it in your meditation room at home? Is it in your garden? Is it in the woods? Is it maybe here in the sanctuary at Unity of Gaithersburg? Where is it for you? And the beautiful thing is that when you bring that to your mind's eye, your mind does not know the difference between you actually being there and you imagining it. So just notice, and you can open your eyes now if you'd like, or you can stay there. But just notice how you feel when you go to that place of restful sanctuary. The Buddhists say that when we are in that place of deep rest, that we are more capable of cultivating right understanding, right action, and right effort. We are better able to respond to our world, folks. The world is calling us to respond to it in a way that is more peaceful and nonviolent. And so I think it's just common sense, but when we're not at peace within our hearts, how can we respond peacefully to what's coming toward us? It's much more difficult to hold our center. Wayne Muller said, "The world aches for the generosity of a well-rested people." So how do we get more Sabbath into our lives? Well, first, I think it's just being conscious that we get to and being willing to. And what feeds your soul? What feeds your soul? Are you doing what feeds your soul? Does it feed your... Patty's like, yeah. Does it feed your soul to hang out with a girlfriend or a guy friend and just go out for a cup of coffee? Or, does it feed your soul just to curl up with your kitty cat? Yeah. Or your chickens? Take a walk in the woods. I am loving chickens. I am loving chickens. I am loving chickens. Take a weekend, folks. And I know, you're like, okay, all right. How can I take a weekend? How can you not? How can you not take a day to rest your soul? You deserve it. Do you get that you deserve it? You deserve to have peace and well-being in your life. Take 3 mindful breaths. And I just invite you, that little bowl. Maybe in your life, find something that will remind you to take 3 deep breaths. Maybe every time your cell phone rings. Take 3 deep breaths before you answer. Maybe when you stop at a red light, take 3 deep breaths to remind yourself. Download an app on your phone, like Calm, or there's Mindfulness, Headspace, Insight Timer. Yeah. Do what supports you so that you can breathe. Okay, together, let's breathe. And let's exhale with the ah. Ah. Okay, together, breathe in. Exhale, ah. One more time, breathe in. Exhale, ah. Yeah. Let's keep the Sabbath holy. You deserve it. Let's affirm together. I honor the Sabbath and keep it holy as I take time to renew, breathe deeply, and be present. I am blessed to rest. Ah. And so it is.